The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees.
Hi, Bremerton and Kitsap. Welcome to Trash Talk. On this show, we have a chat with a local expert to learn more about waste and waste reduction. My name is Reama, and I cannot wait to learn more about today's topic. Construction waste is a big contributor to our global waste. At least 30% of all waste comes from construction and demolition. Joining me to talk about how we can reduce construction waste is a Kitsap County Commissioner's Earth Day Award honoree in 2023, Molly McCabe. Molly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm happy you're here to talk about this. It's a very important topic.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Well, me and a lot of other people, hopefully, by the end of the conversation. So can you talk us through how you got started in waste reduction and what your background is?
It started with the rebuild of my own home. And the home was started out as a manufactured home, and we thought about getting rid of it, but then we thought there's a problem with this house. I don't want to pass that problem on to somebody else. So we investigated a lot of different things. We ended up deconstructing the house with the assistance of a deconstruction professional and recycling it and then building it back up sustainably.
Okay.
And the more we got into it, the more lit up I got. And how important it is to divert as much as you can from the landfill. And there's so many different ways to do it. It starts with planning, taking an inventory of what you've got and what types of things would be of value to other people. What has a useful life left? So we ended up reusing, repurposing, we ended up donating, and we also ended up selling some of the materials.
Yeah, that's great. I'm in the middle of a remodel project myself, and I told my husband that by the time the house is done, I want it to look like it has always looked like that, where it doesn't look like a brand new, shiny new kitchen. It just looks like the kitchen that is supposed to be in the house, just, with the modern amenities that I need.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good plan.
Thank you. So you said you started remodeling your house, and that led you down this path of construction waste reduction. What else have you done in that arena? Any other projects?
Oh, well, I'm a designer, and I used to be a general contractor. I retired from construction a couple of years ago. And so when I approach a project with a client, I'm always trying to get them to think about how can you reuse some of these materials, or where can we donate them? So if we're taking out a kitchen, let's say the cabinets are in reasonable order, they just don't work for the homeowner because of the way the work flows in the kitchen or whatever. We look at the garage, we look at daylight basements. Can we reinstall those cabinets in another area of the house and still give them a useful life? There's also Habitat for Humanity Restore, so that's another option for upcycling materials.
Yeah, I do like that place. I'm feel lucky that it's in Bremerton because then it's not too far for me to go. But they always have usually at least part of the project that I need, which is very convenient.
That is. I'm glad you're being able to take good use of it.
Yeah, and
advantage of it.
Yeah, they pick up appliances too, which is great. So I just love Habitat all around.
Good.
Yeah. So you said you were doing contracting. Did you have any rules or guidelines for your job sites?
I did. We recycled plastic bags, styrofoam, wood, metal, and cardboard. So with the styrofoam we used to have a recycling program on Bainbridge. It was also expanded into Kitsap. But now I take it directly to Seattle when I go to Seattle to look for tile and slabs and stuff like that. There's a recycling center there. It's been there. It was originally started on the property at IKEA in the Kent Valley. It moved to a better location, so I take a lot of stuff there on a regular basis. Wood I would take down to the local campground for people's marshmallow toast.
Sure.
Why would I want to pay to put it in a landfill? kind of thing.
Exactly.
And plastic bags I would put in the grocery store bin, and so on and so forth. I'd take, if I had a lot of metal, I would go to Navy Yard, but Navy Yard's not with us. But now I don't have that, and it can go straight into the recycling bin.
For metal recycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the easiest one, honestly.
And cardboard.
Yeah.
My middle name used to be Cardboard.
Cardboard comes from everywhere, and it will not stop. So it's good to have a space to do that recycling.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So do I have it right that you would collect some styrofoam from your neighbors also to provide that service of, because I think that's a great way to build community with neighbors, is collecting it. Not you specifically, but.
No, it is. The problem is most people aren't going to go to Seattle with it. But
right.
I've been known to stop when I see styrofoam in somebody's trash can and pull it out and throw it in my car and take it home.
I love it. I love it. That's important work, though, because that styrofoam, once it's condensed down, it's not that big, but it's big, and that's just one less thing in the landfill.
Well, I need to say something about the styrofoam recycler.
Yeah.
They're repurposing it and creating new consumer products with it, like insulated styrofoam forms for foundations. And they also have historically employed people who would probably have a hard time finding employment elsewhere.
Double win.
And I've seen those same employees for 8 years now.
That's awesome.
So it is. It's a great operation.
Yeah, I love that, because we do need employment on all levels, and also we need to be reducing waste. So that really is a double win. Mm-hmm. So when you were doing your house, what were your favorite takeaways or your favorite parts of the project? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I think one of the most heartwarming ones was when we were giving stuff away and the families that were coming to pick stuff up. I mean, we're talking doors and millwork, and the stories. I had one family, they had 5 kids, and the kids didn't have doors on their bedrooms. And the idea that we were giving these kids some privacy and some quiet time was very heartwarming. The creativity that people were using. We had a lot of aluminum windows, and a guy picked them all up to build a greenhouse. Mm-hmm. So that was really rewarding as well.
Yeah, I love that, because really when we reduce waste, we connect. That's part of it. And I know I've made so many great relationships and friendships through my focus on waste reduction, and because we are connecting with each other on something that is focused on humanity.
And is important to both of you.
Yep.
So it's fine. It's nice to find like-minded people.
I love it. And that's one of the benefits of the show, is getting to introduce like-minded people to all of Kitsap.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. This is a really important topic. So what else can you share with us about waste reduction? Do you have any tips for homeowners like myself?
I think one of the things that homeowners need to think about is what kind of packaging is coming with the products that they are buying that aren't being repurposed, and try and minimize how much packaging. You're not always going to be able to tell, but you can glean from people's manufacturers and retailers and distributors' websites, what they're going to be using, or you can call them, and so that you're not contributing to the perpetuation of styrofoam usage and things like that. When I'm buying yogurt at the store, I turn the cartons upside down, and it's like, is it a 5 or is it a 2? Mm-hmm. And if it's a 2, I'll buy it, and if it's not, I don't.
I'm there as well. When I'm at the convenience store getting my cold drink, I will only get aluminum and glass. I don't need to buy plastic bottles, because there's so many glass and aluminum options now that it's been a really great option. So that tiny mindset at the convenience store, but on a bigger perspective, like what you're saying about packaging for construction waste, that's a great point.
It can be hard to determine, but just focusing on that can help you reduce a lot of waste. And also planning. Planning will reduce your waste as well.
Mm-hmm. What kind of planning?
Inventorying what you've got, again, is important. But, thinking about the quantities that you need and how to use stuff. Tile is sold by the box, so you can't always narrow it down to just what you need, and you really shouldn't anyway. Mm-hmm. You always want 10% more with tile. But it's just, when you go to the lumber yard, let's think, do you really need the 10-foot or do you need the 8-foot? People are building houses with 9-foot ceilings. Drywall is sold in 8-foot and 12-foot sheets. So if you do a 9-foot, you're going to have some waste. Mm-hmm. So I think it just depends on, how the room is structured, whether you're going to be able to hide that seam easily and whether you're going to be able to reduce your waste. But understand how products are made and how they're going to be installed, and then you can reduce your waste that way.
Yeah, that's a great point, because not everything is built with this mindset, and most things are not built with it. So we have to educate ourselves on the whole process. How does it come, and how are we going to use it? And that mindset really does impact a lot.
Deconstructing rather than demolition is the other thing that is instrumental in saving the materials. Not all materials can be saved. I mean, we've had many plans where we would save the cabinetry only to find out that the cabinetry was hanging on by a string.
Right.
You take the first screw out and everything just falls apart in front of you. And like, well, I guess we're not sending those to Habitat.
Right.
Which is sad. That's just one of many ways to go about it.
Deconstructing and reusing the things that you have, like you said, like in the basement or another.
The thing about deconstructing is a lot of contractors don't want to take the time because it's not cost effective. So, I mean, depending on how you look at costs. So it's a matter of having that discussion with the contractor, and explaining how important it is to you to take that path so that you can get the outcome that you want.
Yeah, most people aren't doing these major projects themselves. They are hiring contractors. So what kinds of vetting questions would you, just like one or two questions that will help communicate that idea to contractors? Because most people don't have the language.
One would be, do you separate waste so that it can be recycled? That would be the first one.
Yeah.
I used to have a no dumpster policy. I did mostly renovations instead of new builds. But what not having a dumpster did, regardless of the size of the project, was it encouraged people to recycle because they couldn't just toss it in the dumpster. It also discouraged the neighbors for throwing things into the dumpster and having my clients have to pay for their neighbors' waste.
Yeah.
But it's also just, these are my values, and can you accommodate them? And they can either say yes or no, and they can also add a bit to their construction estimate to accommodate it.
Sure.
But if you don't ask, you can't have.
Right. That's a great point, too, because we do need to advocate for the things that we want to see. And I would imagine lots of people would like to see less waste on their jobs, on their projects. I just feel better, and maybe that's because I really do love waste reduction, but I always feel better knowing that everything I do is with that mindset. And we, like you said, we can't have what we don't ask for. So just bringing that up to the contractors is a great starting point.
One other thing you can think about is asking people not to bring single-use food cartons, drink cartons to your job site. I do have a policy in my studio. Please don't bring single-use cups. Either use a water bottle that can be reused, or a mug or something like that. I'm one of those people who, on the rare occasion that I go to a coffee place, I take my own cup.
Sure. It's an easy thing to remember once you're in the habit of it.
Just like your grocery bags, the thing to do is, if you want to use a reusable grocery bag on a regular basis, once you put away your groceries, put that bag on the front seat of your car.
Yes, just
Trust
leave
me.
it in your car. Yep.
You will use it if it's there.
Yep, and same for a reusable cup, just keeping it in your car for the occasional drive-through. Mine collapses, so I can put it in the door, which is really nice.
Yes.
Yeah, just have it on hand, because a lot of us can't remember.
Yes.
That's usually me. I'm carrying my groceries in the cart to my car to just put them in the back because I forgot my bags. But I have bags at home, so I bag them at home and bring them in. It's not as efficient, but it does help me reduce a few grocery bags.
Well, the other thing you can do with the grocery bags is take them to the food banks because they need them.
That's true.
And while you're at it, stick a can of food in there.
Yeah. And lock some hours volunteering. Our food banks really are doing some great work too, and related to waste reduction. So it's all in there.
Exactly.
It's all in there. So we talked about your home project, which is the start of your interest, and how you had no dumpster policy. I like that you had no single-use food containers, because if you have no dumpster, then where are you going to throw it away anyhow? So it's kind of overlapping there. That's great. And what contractor questions you had, I thought that was really helpful. Is there anything that you'd like to add to the conversation around more waste reduction? What was the top thing that you saw in construction waste? What's like the top few things?
Well, there's things that can't be recycled, like drywall and tile.
Okay.
So that's unfortunate. And then, you know, if you've got low quality materials, I think one of the biggest things that people need to focus on when they're renovating or building is high durability and low maintenance.
Yeah.
Because those materials will be around for a much longer period of time, and if they're low maintenance and they look good, you're less likely to tear them out and toss them into a landfill. And that's just a kind of a general comment. When I'm advising clients, I am always going for those high durability, low maintenance products, because most of us don't want to spend our time taking care of our homes. We want to be recreating. We want to be spending time with family and friends.
Yep.
So if we don't have to, you know, be a slave to our countertops or our floors, we're going to have more time for the people who are important in our lives.
And they'll look better longer,
Right.
and we won't be as motivated to replace them as quickly, which I think was part of what you were saying there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I think the other thing to focus on is always choose the highest quality product you can afford, because it will last longer and you won't have to replace it. We see a lot of obsolescence in appliances, and it's really frustrating.
Yes.
So, you know, get an understanding about appliances and their reliability before you buy. I know if your refrigerator dies, you need a refrigerator really quickly, but trust me, if you spend an hour or two researching the refrigerators before you run off to the store to get that replacement, you'll be happier in the long run, and so will the environment.
It does make a difference. And appliance repair can seem so daunting to people, but sometimes the issues that our appliances have are actually quite approachable, and thanks to the internet, those manuals are around, and you can usually find replacement parts online. So repairing, I always advocate for that. And if you do have to replace, make a smart decision, like you were saying. Do your research and know exactly what you're looking for so you can make the right choice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
It is.
So you were talking about some durable building materials. What can you tell us about some other options besides, I think we mentioned countertops and floors?
Well, there are products that are highly durable and low maintenance, but they're comprised of less than sustainable components. Let's use composite decking as an example. Very easy to maintain, will live a very long life, and doesn't require much maintenance. And so you have to balance the two. You know, is it going to be torn out and replaced, or is it going to have a long life?
Right.
And so that, you know, but you have to have a different mindset to think about how those two things balance each other out.
Right. It's benefits in both, and how can you bridge that so that it's overall, over the lifetime of the home, potentially the greatest benefit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in regard to thinking about planning for your project, we talked about understanding the life cycle of the materials and what size they are. For example, like you said, sheetrock. Are there any other ideas that you'd like to share?
I always encourage clients, homeowners, to consider working within the footprint of their home. A lot of them have a hard time visualizing how the space could be any better than, you know, than it currently is. Instead of bumping out, instead of putting an addition onto the home, let's really take a look at that space and see how we can use it differently. And that way you're using less materials overall, you're not dealing with roof lines and things like that. So that will save a lot of construction waste right there, utilizing what you already have.
Yeah, that's a mindset for sure. I love to watch tiny home videos, and the way that they maximize their space is inspiring, honestly. It makes me wonder, like, oh, I have 4 square feet over here that's not, you know, activated in my home. What can I do? And I think back to those tiny home principles, which I think is related to what you're saying about just rethinking the floor plan and how to activate every space.
I would agree with that. I recently am working on a project, and client wanted a powder room, but she didn't want it to be part of her guest bathroom, which was on the first floor of the home. And I said, simple, we'll just put it under the stairs right here. And she just was like, oh, but it's going to back up to the guest bathroom so we can share the plumbing and things like that.
And that's why experts are so nice, because you see it in a way from all the experience that you have. You see it in a way that most people just can't envision it just yet. And we appreciate experts that will show us how we can reduce waste while also having all of the amenities in our home that we need. I really appreciate you and the work that you're doing and joining on the show. Thank you so much for your time. It was great to have you on, Molly.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
While it can feel overwhelming to think about all the waste is created, there are many passionate people that focus on one area where it can be reduced. More attention is growing to construction and demo waste reduction, and I got a couple tips and ideas from today's conversation. I hope you did too. If you want to catch up on past episodes of Trash Talk, you can find them on the BCAT YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, use it again, Kitsap and Bremerton.
Mm-hmm.